Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting of the Tacoma Public School Board for September 8th, 2022 to order. And happy first day of school, everyone. So exciting to be here. So let's everyone stand and we'll have the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Wow, he's got it. Tacoma Public Schools acknowledges that we are on the traditional, ancestral, and historical lands of the Puyallup Tribe of Indians. We honor with gratitude and the land itself and the Puyallup Tribe. This acknowledgement serves as a first step in honoring our nearest tribal neighbors and partners who have inhabited this region since time immemorial, and to whom we give thanks for allowing us passage to their lands. We shall intentionally create inclusive and respectful partnerships that honor Indigenous cultures, histories, identities, and socio-political realities. General Counsel Malik Benro, would you please call the roll?
Certainly. President Bumbert.
Here.
Director Stroger.
Here.
Director McElroy.
Here.
Director Keating.
Here.
And I understand Director Leon will be joining us shortly.
Shortly, yes.
Thank you.
Okay. So we have moving on to the agenda. Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda?
I move to adopt the agenda.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any additions to the agenda? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? We have an agenda up 4-0, and here's Dr. Leon. Moving on to item 6, recognition of staff, students, and community. 6.1, civic observances. Turn it over to our general counsel to go through the litany of observances we have this month.
Yes, we have 3 legally required civil observances this month. First is National Hispanic Heritage Month. The second is Labor Day. And the third is Constitution and Citizenship Day.
Okay, do you want to talk a little bit more about each of them, or?
Sure. The National Hispanic Heritage Month doesn't come from a state RCW. It comes from a proclamation from the White House that happened last year. Labor Day, that's a state law required observance for all school districts in Washington. The same is said for Constitution and Citizenship Day. What makes that third one unique is there's an instructional element that occurs during school as social studies teachers instruct on the Constitution and nation's history.
Great, thank you. All right. Any questions or comments on any of our September holidays? Okay. And for those who have not been following what we're doing now, we're having at the beginning, the very first meeting of each month, we're talking about all the civic observances that we're honoring and observing in that specific month. So it may, in the case of Labor Day, it's already passed, but that's because we didn't have a board meeting before. So, all right. Item 7, Superintendent's Report. 7.1, New School Year Update.
Thank you, Madam President. I think we have a little slideshow, but before we get started, I would like to just thank everyone that had a chance to help us kick off our school year, and that is all of our staff in all the different roles. Did a lot of amazing work over the summer and the last few weeks to get prepared, and it sure was fun. It sure was fun to see kids coming back on campus. It sure was fun to see all of our team members back on campus, and we wouldn't be able to do it without our entire staff and the support of the board and the community. In that same spirit, I ask that you be patient with us. We'll hold on the slides just for a second. We have opening some new buildings, and some of you got experience in that. And there's always some bugs that are take a little bit of time to work out. There's not bugs in the building, but operational bugs. And and we're balancing classes, and we have students and new students coming. And so it takes us a few days to get up and running in that spirit. And the first couple of weeks, and really the weeks, it's all about getting to know each other and building those relationships. We have a few playgrounds that are not yet open, but we hope to open up tomorrow, and we're excited to do so. But the team that from the Capital Projects has been working hard. Oftentimes we're working with outside vendors. Vendors are working hard over the summer to get that up and running as well. And then and we'll talk a little bit about this a little bit later, is our sports and activities are up and running. And so we're trying to balance those schedules and transportation. And then we have some challenges to make sure our athletic trainers and supports are there. And we'll dive into that a little deeper. But with that, I will be brief because there's an old saying that a picture says 1,000 words. And the way that I look at this is we might be 10 or 11,000 words here in a few moments. So I want to thank Ms. Catherine McCarthy and the leadership at Public Information to capturing some of the moments. So gentlemen, can you briefly take us through this slideshow? And you can see here's our Baker Pride coming through, first day. I love this picture, 3 of the same shirts. I saw a lot of matching colors in today's. Students getting really active in supports, lots of hugs, smiles the first day at the Abes. One of our new buildings. And look at that, already some work going on in the first day. It's safe to say that I've been around and seen a lot of kids and hear this in a very HR appropriate way. We have the most beautiful children out of any community right here in Tacoma. So I am thankful for all of our families that have entrusted us once more and all of our staff that have come together. And we had a great first day and 179 more to go. So thank you.
Great. Anybody have any questions or comments? I know we have the end of the meeting to talk a little bit about that. Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Since it's come up now, I think I just want to thank, as you've thanked all the staff members really for coming through. As we hear about other districts and other parts of the country not opening on time for lots of reasons around staffing and contracts that weren't finished, I think we need to appreciate the hard work that was done by all the staff and all the management staff and getting the contracts, everything done in a way that everybody felt safe and well cared for, and our kids are in school. Yeah, there's a few lights that aren't up here and there and some fields as you talked about, but really for the most part, our kids can grow and our staff can be whole. So I just want to thank you all of you for important work.
Thank you. Okay, item number 8, staff report to the board. 8.1, K-5 English Language Arts adoption update.
So the first day of school, we're already talking about curriculum. So that's a good place to remember. It seems like 2020, we weren't talking about curriculum as much the first days in 2021. And so tonight we have Ms. Tammy Larson, is one of our curriculum instruction directors, to give us an overview of our K-5 ELA adoption. Thank you, Tammy.
You bet. Am I controlling this? Yes. Okay, thank you. All right. Good evening, Board of Directors. Thank you for having me here. Came to talk to you about our K-5 English Language Arts ELA adoption. And of course, I made myself some notes, but I won't be able to read them because I don't have my glasses on. So first, we did this spring enter into a phase of looking to adopt new materials for literacy. It has been 15 years since we have adopted a comprehensive ELA curriculum. We have adopted specific materials to address specific components, but we have not adopted one curriculum that addresses all the components of literacy within one program. So it's a long time in need. Obviously, in 15 years, the world has changed, right? Along with standards have changed. Teaching techniques have changed, teaching tools have changed, and obviously we are living in a very digital world that we need materials to help students be successful in that world. We also have some historical data that we know that over years, over 50% of our students are heading into middle school, not at a proficient level in literacy skills. Not that one set of materials is going to fix that overnight, but it definitely can help make sure that our teachers have the tools and resources they need in one place to help our students meet the standards. So following Policy 2020R, in the springtime, we did create a District Content Development Committee. DCDC is much easier to say. That included a variety of staff in our K-5 buildings. following the policy, there are 20 people on this committee, and there is representation from each regional area of Tacoma Public Schools. So we made sure that every grade level was represented and all of our programs were represented to review and pilot as well these materials this year through this process. So what were we looking for as we began this? We were looking for materials that first align to our K-5 literacy framework. And we were also, which is our why. Our literacy framework is not our why, it's our how. It's how we teach literacy in Tacoma Public Schools. And the materials that we use or are looking to adopt are the what of what we teach related to literacy. That includes, right, we want materials that are obviously aligned to our Washington State learning standards. We want materials that provide resources for teachers to address the needs of all kids, whether that's tier 1, 2, or 3. Materials that support teachers in being able to do whole group, small group, and one-on-one instruction, which is really about that differentiation piece, right? All kids need something different. We also, according to our framework, we want a balance between the teaching of foundational skills and providing our students meaningful literacy experiences. And we also are looking for materials that really help us communicate progress to our families. So here's where we've been. So those things happened in the spring. We recruited our DCDC, and we have at least one team from every elementary school across our system that will be piloting materials at every grade level. We went into the request for proposals from publishers. We had 16 publishers originally submit materials for our review. There are pallets all over in the basement that we're still figuring out what we'll do with them. And so our DCDC then did the hard work in July of reviewing those numerous pallets of materials at each grade level, and through the process, we're able to narrow down initially to 5 and finally to 2 publishers that we are piloting this year. That review process included a very rigorous rubric review that uses our OSPI bias rubric that really looks for all the components related to culturally responsive teaching and practices and inclusive practices. That was our first review, and our second review was really around the components of literacy. So now moving forward, as of today, we have, like I said, over 100 teachers across every elementary school at every grade level that will be piloting these 2 sets of materials in our buildings this school year. In the fall, we will be piloting a publisher named Benchmark in K-5. After that one, and we're doing lots of support. We're training our teachers on Saturday. We have teachers willing to come in on a Saturday to be trained how to use these materials. And then after winter break, we will move into the second set of materials so they can compare and score and review at the end. We hope in April to have our pilot teachers make a recommendation to our DCDC and about of the 2, which, or maybe none, right? Hopefully one will fit our needs best. And then we'll come to you at that time and ask for making a recommendation for your approval to adopt materials for the fall school year. Just to know a little bit more about these 2 materials, like I said, that passed our rubrics and are aligned to our framework. Benchmark is a program, according to the publisher, that is a cohesive structure that really develops literacy skills through content. Both of these programs, they teach literacy through the lens of science and/or social studies, and so there's some great opportunities for integration with them. That's what I got. Do you have any questions?
Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah,
Well-
I do.
Okay, Director Leon.
Slide number, I mean, just probably the reason for that drop in the proficiency 2019 to 22 is most likely the pandemic, as you mentioned. Wondering how, at 52% prior to that. How are we doing compared to other comparator districts in our area or in our county? What percentages, where are we compared to those other comparator districts?
I wish I could remember those numbers off the top of my head. I do know that our assessment department did share, compared to the state, that all schools saw a drop in K-5 literacy. So I think comparatively we're on par. I don't know that the exact numbers are the same or
About
not.
before the pandemic, were we at the
We
level?
will be part of our benchmarks is we will get back into the regular benchmark flow this year. So we will be able to give you that update of how we are in comparison to other districts as well at that time.
Right.
So what we see is what we see from 2015 is a steady growth.
I do.
And we saw a number of different initiatives that everything from book rooms. And I have to continue to remind myself, so just those that are home, ELA is not reading. It is
Right.
a variety of different skills within inside of that. And so we're confident that we can bring that trajectory back, continue to improve those results. But the pandemic brought a number of different challenges, not just a lost opportunity to spend with kids that second half of the 2020, but a number of our kids didn't have access to the assessment because of quarantining efforts, didn't have access to a teacher because of quarantining for a period of time. So there are a number of things at play in 2022, but we will bring you some historical data prior to 2022 in comparative.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. And
Yes,
please
thank
thank
you.
all the teachers who are volunteering
I
to do
will.
this work and training tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Or Saturday. All right, thank you. Okay. Superintendent, you have anything else on this topic?
No, I just want to thank all the staff. You can see by the sheer volume and then their commitment to this. It's, we have some very dedicated staff members across the district. And so I'm extremely grateful for their time and willingness to help us figure out what are the best next steps.
Great. Okay, item number 9, members of the public wishing to address the board. School board members are encourage public participation. Your civil input is appreciated. Board members will not respond to your comments during the meeting. The superintendent or designee will follow up with you after the meeting if action is needed. Instead of speaking at a meeting, you may also send an email to the board at board@tacoma.k12.wa.us. Please contact the board office in advance of the meeting for disability accommodations. We have 2 options for public comment. The first one is verbal comment. The general counsel will call your name when it's your turn to address the school board. Please speak into the microphone. You may have up to 3 minutes to share your comments, or if there are a large number of speakers, time may be limited at the president's discretion. And I see that we have at least one person today, City Council Member Christina Walker, regarding free youth transit. Councilmember Walker.
Good evening. Thank you for having me, directors, or Chair Bombright and directors. That is a tongue twister. I'm Christina Walker. I am on the Tacoma City Council. I'm a TPS parent, and for the purposes of tonight, I am vice chair of the Pierce Transit Board. I'm here to share with you the free youth transit pass. This is something I'm sure you all are aware of, but I'm making sure that we are, as an agency, going to every dais we can to make sure that we're sharing the news about the free youth transit pass, and so that people listening to the meeting might hear it. This has been a lot of work by a lot of people for a long time, and I want to give a shout out to the leadership of our state representative, Jake Fye, and Senator Marco Lias, who passed the Move Ahead Washington package this year, which is really what made this possible. All of the transit agencies have decided to offer free rides for youth ages 18 and under, and that went into effect September 1st. And for those who are interested in getting a transit pass, you can go to your school office, you can go to myorca.com, or you can go to the bus shop at Tacoma Dome Station. But also, right now, because we've put out I think 20,000 Orca cards. They are in short supply. Just get on the bus. So you don't have to wait till you have that card in hand. Drivers are ready for youth to get on the bus. You can hop on anywhere. And I want to reiterate that this is Pierce Transit, Sound Transit, King County Metro, Community Transit, and it will include ferries. That doesn't start until October 1st, but any transit in the state of Washington. We are so proud of this, so excited about it. This is obviously a game changer for youth in our community. And I know you all know the importance of making sure youth can get to school, can get to after school jobs, can get to programs. And this really makes all that possible. And I gave this little blurb at another location, and a parent came up to me after and said, and for parents to kick their kids out of the house and make them go do something. So it really is a win-win to get kids on the bus and really create the next generation of transit riders. So just a couple other details. If folks want more information, piercetransit.org at /free youth pass, although it is the first thing that pops up. We couldn't be more excited about this to get that pass, but just hop on the bus now to take Pierce Transit or Sound Transit here in Pierce County, anywhere you need to get. Thank you so much for your time, and good to see you all in person.
Thank you so much for your leadership in this area. All right, General Counsel, do we have any other in-person?
We have no other verbal or written comments for tonight.
Okay, so no written comments either. All right, thank you very much. Moving on to item 10, the consent agenda. Do I have a motion for the consent agenda?
I move to adopt the consent agenda.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Do we have any comments on any of the items on the agenda? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Passes 5-0. Okay. Item 11, policy matters. 11.1, second reading of revised policy 6213, travel authorization and expense reimbursement.
The district's general counsel, on behalf of the Director of Financial Services, recommend the board review and adopt the proposed revised policy 6213, travel authorization and expense reimbursement.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I move to adopt item 11.1.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments on this item?
Yes. Just a general question. What is the 6,000 series policies? Like, what is it? Like, you know how all the policies have their own 1,000 series. What is the 6,000 series? I read the policy. I think it's great. And the revisions make sense. But I just don't really recall what that is.
I can look that up for you pretty quickly.
Thank you.
It's one of our operations those higher number ones are operations. Specifically, it's management support.
There we go. Because I'm like, I know a lot of them, but overall the policy makes sense. So there's no further comments on that.
Anyone else? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, it passes 5-0. Financial report. The district's next quarterly financial report is planned for November 2022. Monthly financial statements can be found on the district website at https://www.tacomaschools.org/departments/business and finance. Item 13, curriculum and instruction. 13.1, approval of contract number TSD-22-199 between the University of Eastern Washington and Tacoma Public Schools from September 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2023.
President Bombright, you said Eastern Washington. It's University of Washington.
Pardon me?
We're on 13.1. I think you read the title for
Okay.
13.2.
Yes,
We're doing both tonight.
Yeah.
I will read this
Sorry.
instead. No, that's okay. No, thank you for that. It's okay. This one's University of Washington. Sorry, they're mixed up here. All right.
The Assistant Superintendent of K-12 Support, on behalf of the Director of Schools, recommends that the Board of Directors approve contract number TSD 22-199 between the University of Washington and Tacoma Public Schools from September 1, 2022 through June 30th, 2023.
I move to adopt item 13.1.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions on this item? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. And it passes 5-0. 13.2, I'm going to double check here. It says approval of contract number TSD 22-195 between Eastern Washington University and Tacoma Public Schools from September 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2023.
The Assistant Superintendent of K-12 Support, on behalf of the Director of Schools, recommends that the Board of Directors approve contract number TSD 22-195 between Eastern Washington University and Tacoma Public Schools from September 8th, 2022 through June 30th, 2023.
I move to adopt item 13.2.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions on this item? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Passes 5-0. Item 13.3, approval of contract number TSD-20-017 between the Graduation Alliance and Tacoma Public Schools for the 2022-2023 school year.
The Assistant Superintendent of K-12 Support, on behalf of the Director of Schools, recommends the Board of Directors approve contract number TSD 20-017, Amendment Number 1, between a Graduation Alliance and Tacoma Public Schools for the 2022-2023 school year.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I move to adopt 13.3.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments on this item? Director Leon.
Could you give us a little description of how this coordinates and works with the Willie Stewart Academy? Are they separate for credit retrieval, dropout recovery? How does this work with Willie Stewart?
I think it would just the way that you explained it, but I will call up Doug Hostetter. Dr. Hostetter is in the house, and he works specifically with these programs.
Okay.
Doug is in the house.
That's going to get repeated again and again.
It is.
Good evening, President Bonbright, members of the board. To answer your question, it's a good question. Both open doors programs. So Willie Stewart is catered to our students who are struggling maybe in their current high school, and so they're involved in our system. Grad Alliance is more for students who have been disconnected from the system for 2 years, or frequently 19 years of age, very few credits. And so Willie's Graduation Alliance gives them the opportunity to earn credits a little quicker because we can continue to serve those students through their 21st. As long as they start school at the age of 20, we can serve them all the way through. If they're 20 in September and they turn 21 in October, we can serve them for that entire school year. So Grad Alliance allows us the opportunity to do that for those students. And it also gives an opportunity for students that might not be able to go to Willie Stewart for health and safety reasons, and they can do that at home through Grad Alliance.
The original vision that Dr. Hostetter helped us lead was that we would have a portfolio of options, and that we recognize that sometimes, I think our teams have done a marvelous job of never giving up. As we track our 7-year graduation rates, our commitment is every student every day in there. And so as we framed Willie Stewart, it was much more of a hands-on with our local staff and our local supports. And we recognize sometimes that doesn't work. And what Graduation Alliance does is it's a company that allows us to share the information of the students that we have lost. And they actively go out and try to recruit them to keep on keeping them re-engaged until the ages that Dr. Hostetter mentioned. So when I think about it it's you go into the comprehensive, one of our portfolio schools, maybe in Oakland, recognizing that one size fits doesn't fit all. And you may try a different school and a different transfer, and that's okay. Success is never giving up. And then that may not work as well for you for a variety of reasons, and Willie Stewart is a different approach. And then this is on top of that. But we don't just put kids out to Graduation Alliance first. So we work through those channels in case management.
So Willie Stewart's more in person, more of our staff, and then if they want more of an online approach or they've been more removed from the system, it's Graduation Alliance.
Yeah, I think the real distinction is they've been disconnected from the system for years and are really credit deficient. Then they would go to Willie Stewart.
Okay. Thanks for your explanation.
Yeah, thanks for asking the question. All right. Any other comments or questions on this item? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, passes 5-0. Item 13.4, approval of contract number TSD 22-212 between Olympic Sport and Spine and Tacoma Public Schools from September 1st, 2022 to July 31st, 2025.
I move to adopt item 13.4.
Second.
Okay,
Do you want me to read it?
It's been moved. in-
Oh,
Did you read it?
we
Yeah,
just
you
jumped
guys
right
just
ahead.
jumped right
Sorry,
in.
Tony.
It's okay. I can read
There's
it
some
real fast.
context behind that. Sorry.
We're clearly very ready to go.
You're ready to prove it.
That's right.
Yeah.
The Assistant Superintendent of K-12 Support on behalf of the Director of Student Life recommends that the Board of Directors approve contract number TSD 22-212 between Olympic Sport and Spine and Tacoma Public Schools from September 1, 2022 to July 31st, 2025. The estimated cost is $222,600 per year. Funding source, Student Life.
I move to adopt item 13.4.
Thank you.
I still second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded twice now. So any questions or comments on this item? Hearing
We've asked James Neal, Director of Athletics and Activities, to give you an update that is connected to this conversation. But athletics has already started, and so some folks may say, "So what does that mean?" And you might have gone to a game and not seen a trainer, and so James is here to also give you an update of that. So I'm not sure if you want to take action on this and then get that update, or do that right now.
doesn't, I mean, I'm good with either. Go
James,
ahead, James.
why
All right,
Update.
I'm going to give my update first.
Okay, sounds good.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. So, giving an update on our current status around athletic trainers. We've reached out to several local entities that have medical facilities who also have athletic trainers that work in those facilities. At this time, we've been given permission by our partnership with, soon-to-be partnership with Olympic Sport and Spine, to reach out to private individuals and contracts. So we have 2 who have completed the process, and we have 2 athletic trainers locally who are private contractors who we're using in emergent needs and high contact sports, in particular football right now, to meet the need on the field on game night. Director Leon has also offered his medical services on the sideline for our teams, and is also working with some of his colleagues to train them to be on the sidelines for our teams as well. And then furthermore, I've reached out to local entities, including Boeing and JBLM, with some contacts, and they're reaching out to others to find others who are interested in being private contractors. And so we're paying them hourly to come and support our teams while we're in the process of approving. And then once we have this approved, our partners at OSS can begin recruitment.
Thank you. That clears a lot up. Appreciate that.
Thank
Any
you.
other questions or comments? Director Leon.
Yeah, so I appreciate the strong work Director Neal has been putting into this. I think it's important just to know that safety is of utmost importance for all the students. And in that vein, I've met with several of the coaches, the head coaches in different schools. And at this point, really, so the public is aware, they're taking precautions to really remove kids from athletic activity if there's a question of safety, where there's not a trainer, if the trainer's not there because they're not there right now, they're going to remove the kid to be safe and then have them see their primary care provider. Now, we've got this issue with not enough slots and appointments for primary care providers to then see kids, clear them in a faster manner to get back to their sport. So we ask for your patience as families and as kids on this, but it's important to try to get in to see your primary care doc. Ideally, that's where you're going to get the most longevity and continuity of care. These other measures we're taking and you're taking to get providers and docs to the sideline, I think is wonderful and going to help with safety. But seeing your primary care doc and coaches are going to be taking kids out. I think it's important for the patients, the families to know that safety is first, and the kid may not be able to play as much because of this if they get an injury that's not completely understood. Yeah. Okay.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
that clarity. And I just want to add one other support in case families are out there, is James has been reaching out to the other schools that we're competing against. So if we're at a away game, there may be a trainer there. And if that trainer makes a call for safety reasons that the student doesn't play, we honor that. And I know that can be sometimes a difficult decision if you're an athlete and say, no, I'm fine, especially with head injuries. And so we are all working in collaboration, and there's actually law that says they get to make those calls and determine when they come back. So we're not we have a lot more work to do. We're very, hopefully, very thankful for our potential partners here, Mr. Thatcher and Olympic Spine. Has been very gracious, but they will need some time as well. And the industry is, there's not enough people out there to meet all the demand. So we're working very hard. And that's why we're also potentially bringing you a 3-year contract. So hopefully that we can provide some stability as we move forward.
Great.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, passes 5-0. Business matters, item 14. 14.1, approval of contract number TSD-22-193 between Catholic Community Services and the Tacoma Public Schools from September 1st, 2022 to August 31st, 2023.
I move to adopt item 14.1.
I started a trend. I know, I apologize.
We're going to wait for him to read it.
We're doing really good tonight.
So who's this? Who's
Here
on?
we go.
Okay.
The
Dr.
deputy-
Nolan is our deputy
Here we
superintendent.
go.
I'm like,
The Deputy Superintendent, on behalf of the Director of Holtchild, recommends that the Board of Directors approve contract number TSD 22-193 between Catholic Community Services and Tacoma Public Schools from September 1st, 2022 through August 31st, 2023 in the amount of $216,000. Funding source, ESSER funds.
okay, now you move it.
I move to adopt item 14.1.
I second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions on this particular item?
So I will raise this as a continued, we are extremely grateful for Catholic Support Services and their partnership with us and many of the partners. These are funded by ESSER dollars. And so you'll notice, so why not a multi-year contract? Those dollars expire unfortunately too soon. And so, we will be working to provide these supports, but we cannot make a commitment beyond this year of what that looks like. And so there'll be a lot of legislative opportunities for us to advocate for continued mental health and additional supports outside for our students. But that's why it is a 1-year only contract.
Okay, thank you for that clarity. Okay, any other comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Passes 5-0. Item 14.2, approval of contract number TSD-22-192 between Multicare Health Systems, Yes Tacoma, and Tacoma Public Schools from September 1st, 2022 to August 31st, 2025.
The Deputy Superintendent, on behalf of the Director of Holtchild, recommends that the Board of Directors approve contract number TSD 22-192 between Multicare Health System, Youth Engagement Services Tacoma, and Tacoma Public Schools from September 1st, 2022 through August 31st, 2025 for an estimated cost of $600,000. Funding source, ESSER funds.
So in that spirit, you're saying, well, Dr. Garcia, this is a 3-year contract. So there is grant dollars that are associated with this outside that allow us some additional flexibility.
And the services between the two entities, Catholic Community Services as well as Multicare, are separate types of services. We've had longstanding relationships with both, but CCS has traditionally provided crisis response and will continue thereafter, even after the expiration of this. Multicare provides more specific one-on-one support for youth ages 13 and above.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
I move to adopt item 14.2.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Do we have any other further questions or comments on this item? Thank you for your clarification. I think that helps. Director
So
Leon.
I'm going to recuse myself from voting because I partially work for this organization. When we
Okay,
come to that.
that's great. So you can abstain when I
I'll
call for that.
abstain.
Okay. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstain.
Okay, thank you. It passes 4-0 with 1 abstention. All right. Item 14.3, approval of contract number TSD-22-215 between the Tacoma Police Department and Tacoma Public Schools from September 1, 2022 to August 31st, 2023.
The General Counsel, on behalf of the Director of Safety and Security, recommends the Board of Directors approve the renewal contract TSD 22-215 between the Tacoma Police Department and Tacoma Public Schools from September 1st, 2022 to August 31st, 2023 for a contract value not to exceed $500,000, funding source through Safety and Security.
Okay, we have a motion.
I move to adopt.
You want
A
to
second?
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions on this?
So I want to add a little comment. So this is, we had the same contract last year. And so you'll see some subtleties is if the police department is able to provide the officers. And so we have to have the conversation. This is part of your original plan of how to re-image policing, our safety and security model inside the schools. So some folks may say, well, wait a second here. We weren't having a partnership with the police. Yes, we were. We had a partnership with these two community liaison positions. Unfortunately, there has been a police officer shortage, and they haven't been able to fill that. Chief Moore and Deputy Chief Younger and the city manager, they weren't all, or the chief and the deputy chief were not here when that plan was established. And so they are still committed to helping us support that plan and implement it. But they are also very clear that we just are not in a place yet to have community liaisons. We are in close relationship in safety and security and making sure that our police force has access to our buildings. They are responsive in that and continuing to brainstorm ideas of how do we build relationships and still honor that original request to make sure that there isn't a policing forcing that inside of our schools that is causing our students to express concerns for their safety. So it's, I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. This is still the same intent. It is essence a rollover contract from last year with some subtle changes about how we can use some of the resources to have folks cover games, maybe special opportunities, but those would be on a volunteer basis.
So as a point of clarification then, if the maximum allowable amount is $500,000, but if there are no liaisons that are been hired to do this work, we're not paying this police department for services that are not being rendered.
That is correct.
Okay, great.
And nor did we last year as
Yeah,
well.
right. I just want to make sure the public's aware of that. Okay. Any other comments or questions on this item? And I do want to take this time to thank our general counsel, Malik Benro, for all of his work over the past 2 years on helping us think through and redesign our safety and security team, as well as this process with the Tacoma Police Department, which I know has been a lot of work. So thank you for your time and energy. All right. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Passes 5-0. There is no other business, and so we are on to board comments and reports. So who would like to go first this evening? Oh, Director McKellar is giving me the smile.
Hi. Okay, so I'm very excited to be back with you guys. Sorry I missed last meeting, but while I was gone, I was doing some research and I met with some people who work here at CAB, which is our Central Administration Building, and I wanted to learn more about our AVID program and how it works for students, how parents and people in the community can tap into it. And basically, AVID school-wide is the implementation of cross-curricular strategies that have been identified as beneficial for all students, research-based high-yield strategies for enhancing student achievement for all students in all subject areas at all grades. So I met with the AVID department. I wanted to learn more about it because this year they have the Classroom to Career Financial Literacy Day. I think that's something that's been coming up a lot in community. What is financial literacy? How are we doing this? How does this work? And people have questions. And what are the schools doing about it? So our schools are doing something really cool on October 12th this year, Wednesday, in collaboration with Discover U, College and Career Readiness themed days. They're offering financial education lessons for students in all grades, K through 12. So I think you can just reach out to your school and find out more about that and just how it impacts you. I think it's really cool that we're doing it from all grade levels, pre-K through high school, just talking about financial literacy at a way that's age and developmentally appropriate, of course. And I've seen and heard about some of the lesson plans from middle school. I was really jazzed about it. So that was my update. And then also, it's the first day of school. We had a lot of fun. I take it as a point of privilege to be someone in, of, and for the community. I got to see 22 of my former students at all different grade levels, including a 19-year-old who's graduated from one of our schools, dropping off an elementary student. So it's pretty cool. Those cool kids at Baker's with the glasses, they were filming a TikTok. I crashed it. They allowed me to try to attempt to TikTok with them. It was horrible, but I did it for the kids. So yeah, it was pretty cool to see kids I've known from infancy, from school age, from my ELO program, and just the ways that we as a board blend into this community because we're part of it. So thank you for the opportunity to serve y'all.
Madam President, there may be a video out there floating of Director McElroy dancing this week as well. So I would just,
Ooh, wanna
I'm
see
not
that.
sure
Next
that I
board
can
meeting.
verify that anywhere, but
And
I heard.
maybe jump roping.
and maybe
I
jump
heard.
roping. And so we're extremely grateful.
We can do it the next
for the
board
support.
meeting. We can have that as entertainment as we're
I
waiting.
can't
Which
wait,
may
y'all.
lead to a surprising guest cheering experience from Director Leon. So I will just
Okay.
leave that
Oh,
out there
wow.
for them as well.
Okay, then. Great. Sorry I missed that event. All right. Director Strozier, do you have anything to share?
I'll just share that all of the energy I needed for the day came from Truman and Lincoln. I was there at both schools to welcome students today, which was obviously an honor of mine to be able to grace the hallways
Say
and
it.
the
Don't say
area of my former high school, but also to be able to go over to Truman and see how they shepherd their young people. Like, it was amazing to be out in the front, everybody gathered. Somebody said, all right, we going into the gym, and it was single file line with all of these. I don't know what they're doing to them kids over there, but they are either they were ready to come back or Dr. Stout's got a pretty good system in place. So yeah, it's pretty good to see those folks in there. They had a great opening assembly where they went over ground rules. They refreshed memories for last year, and they kind of set the tone about how this year is going to be. And it was just exciting to be able to sit there and watch. And obviously at Lincoln, we do have a really nice drum line. They didn't have much practice time, but you couldn't tell. They came out and welcomed students as they came out of their cars. So just a good time. They had music playing, balloons, Batman showed up. It was pretty good. So yeah,
As
it was
he
a good
would.
day. Yeah.
Batman to Lincoln.
Yeah. No, that's later.
He saves it. He ends the meeting with that. All right. So, Director Leon.
Yeah, thank you. So I think we mentioned it's a Hispanic Appreciation or Celebration Month, the right term here, but also it's just our Latinx population. We use a lot of different terms in the Latinx world. Just to remember that it's not just the memories and the work of people like Cesar Chavez or Justice Sotomayor. A lot of contributions here for lots of different cultures. This one we're focusing on Latinx culture. And that culture has been here before this country was a country officially, right? All of Western, Southwest United States was Latinx folks from Mexico originally, and they stayed here. And I think it's an important contribution that this group of people has. We all need to rise up together. I appreciate that. I think it's also important to bring up the program we have called Tacoma Flex. Many of you have probably seen it, but probably not enough. It's lots of communications gone out. We know that there are long emails that exist. It's hard to read through them all, so just trying to call the attention to all the parents out there, the kids. I know they're listening to this meeting intently all the time. Let's hope. But just to be brief, Tacoma Flex, the intent is to give more flexibility around education. I'm going to focus on the ability to come as a high schooler to your first period class, not to your first period class, come to your second period class, take your first period class remotely, asynchronously, to allow kids to sleep in the morning, because that age range has been proven, that circadian rhythm, to help them do better emotionally. There's improvements in discipline, attendance, academics on kids. Not every kid will improve with this, but a lot of them will, and it's not for every family. It's the ones that can basically have an independent learner, because it's an asynchronous class. You have to be able to do that work and be responsible about it. And it's transportation may be an issue, although now we also know for a while we've had transportation help with public transportation, but the buses aren't going to run twice rounds. Please consider it, look at it, see if it's right for your family. And the event yesterday, the kickoff, was very impressive, not just from watching our line or our jump roping that occurred, but Doctors Garcia, Nolan here were also jumping in there a lot, and also doing some moves. Like I think there was almost the moonwalk going on, I think, with Dr. Garcia, and you had a lot of lunges going on with Dr. Nolan. So I think there should be some good videos going on here.
Tacoma Flex, if you need a quick reminder, it's right on the front page right now as well. So I thank you, Dr. Leon, for bringing that back up. So if you forget any of it, just go right to our central page, and right now it's on the main tiles. And you can check it out also on each one of our school sites.
Can I add on to that real quick?
Sure.
Something I learned about Tacoma Flex, because again, while I was gone, I was studying, okay? I studied our website. Everything's there. But the thing that was most exciting for me, a lot of times when you think about like online or flexing a class, it's also for like math and sciences. So typically when someone's thinking like, oh, okay, well, maybe I'll take an English class from home. It's math. It's including algebra 1 and 2, geometry, pre-calc, and trig. So I thought that was pretty cool. And AP classes included in the Tacoma Flex option. So if you're going to get really excited about it, I'm really into math. So that was cool.
Okay. Vice President Keating.
Last week we toured the new Skyline and Downing, and that was super fun. And then sort of like a backstage pass, if you will. And the Downing site, with Skyline having been a student at the original Skyline, was also really fun. I went to Bryant's open house, where they are being housed at the old Skyline, and nothing has changed since like 1981, 1982. In that building, it looks very much the same, and I knew my way around. But it was really exciting to see just our school community, like different school communities, getting settled in to new spaces, and it was just very exciting. And what was I going to? Oh, and at Downing, the Boys and Girls Club, for any of those who grew up in Tacoma and went to the Boys and Girls Club, you will be blown away with how it was incorporated, how it's been incorporated into the new building. It's exceptional. And then I got to be at the new Skyline this morning for first day of school, and just a lot of really high energy. And that was really exciting. And I know that at least my senior had senior sunrise this morning, and I can assure you I have photographic evidence that a number of seniors were at a particular beach at 6 a.m. in the morning. Our alarm clock went off at 4:45 this morning. I was not happy. But that was really exciting. And then I actually thought of a question about the curriculum, the ELA curriculum, if it's okay if I ask that. I was wondering about the iReady, and how iReady fits into this new curriculum, if it's going to be still a part of it or there will be a replacement.
Yeah, so iReady starts off with, think about this, is our basic screener for reading, if you will. So what we use that is as an assessment that says, okay, I think 2 to 3 times a year, how are our students doing? And that gives us data to say, oh, there may be a challenge with this student or what's going on here. And so then we have to move into more diagnostic of what are the challenges that student may be facing. And so that classroom teacher has the voice. There are a variety of other tools. In addition to that, there's actually lessons of support lessons inside the iReady curriculum from Curriculum Associates. So you sign contracts and say, so what does that look like? So then that is very specifically targeted to a standard or a set of standards or a set of sub-skills. And so we plan on still using that. We still plan on having a balanced literacy, so students having choice inside the classroom. And we've spent a lot of resources to make sure that they are support our equity initiatives, to make sure that students see themselves in that curriculum. And so in that balanced literacy, there's whole group instruction, there's small group instruction, and there's one-to-one instruction. And so iReady would fit more oftentimes into the small group or the one-to-one instruction. So that allows teachers to have a variety of skill sets to differentiate to meet those needs. But with that missing piece that oftentimes is struggling is that whole group instruction. And what does that look like? And so that's where this work is really predominantly starting to focus in on. It doesn't mean that there won't be some lap over where then we may have to remove some of the redundancy. But what we have found consistently across the board is one set of tools never meets all the needs of that. And so think of it as another piece of the puzzle.
Thank you.
And then I should turn to Ms. Larson to see how I do. Mr. Edmond gives me 2 thumbs up.
Excellent. Awesome.
you.
Thank you.
All right. You all done?
I'm done.
All right. Well, I will talk a little bit about my first day of school today, which was super exciting. I started at the Downing Elementary, and for welcoming these youngsters to a brand new building, which, as Vice President Keating was describing, is this incredible amalgam of what used to be the Boys and Girls Club building with this integrated incredibly well and smoothly with a elementary school. And that was a lot of fun. Starting the day there, and then went over to McCarver Elementary, where Office Depot provided, I don't even know where to begin. It was like this celebration of school and life and the students. Office Depot, has a Start Strong program, and it's in 18 schools across the country, if I remember correctly. And McCarver is one of them. And they gave a teacher, they gave one particular teacher whose name escapes me at the moment. Do you remember the name of the teacher? They got the teacher award.
No, but she was awesome.
She was incredible. And she got this whole bevy of like office supplies and things for her classroom, which were amazing. And then every single student got a backpack, a brand new backpack of a whole rainbow of colors that they could choose from, filled with, notebooks and crayons and pencils and just all sorts of things that they would need for their supplies for the year. So that was a very exciting moment. A lot of happy faces, thrilled kids, and the teachers were recognized and supported and nurtured. And then I had the honor of being board president. I get to ring the bell with the superintendent. And so we got up on the roof and rang the bell. So for those of you that were wondering why the bell was going madly at around 1 o'clock, it was because we were ringing it in celebration of the first day of school. So that was part of the day-to-day for me. So that was wonderful. And I also wanted to touch on, we talk about the new buildings that have been going up and how great it is for these students to enter into a brand new school that is more reflective of their learning styles and their needs. And I just want to say again, thank you so much to the voters who consistently support our bond measures and our levies, both of which do all the wraparound funding that allow us to provide the high quality level of services to our students and provide the kind of quality education that's going to prepare these students to succeed in life and in school and life. And so first, thank you to the voters, because you all made it happen. And secondly, to Chris Williams and his entire team, Morris Aldridge and everyone else who worked so hard to make sure that our projects are on time and under budget and high quality all across the way, and our partners that we work with. So thank you for all the staff that worked so hard to make this happen. All right. Item number 17, announcement of our next regular board meetings. The next one will be September 22nd here at 6 p.m. And then the following one will be October 13th at 6 p.m. And unless anyone has anything else to add, with that,
Rally.
we are ready to adjourn.
Go Apes.
I knew it.
I wasn't going to take that from you. That was just one time.
Yeah.